we're back again. Yeah, had a bit of a premature start this time, but we're good this time, right? We're all good. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I am Goonerly Meads, Lee Meadows, joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment today. How are you today, Posh? You okay?
I am doing very good. I saw some family members that I haven't seen for a long time today, which was very nice. And because I'm fat, I had to stop at McDonald's afterwards. And now I feel like the world's largest whale. I feel all fat and bloated, ready for a Gooner Gathering episode, as we should be.
Fantastic. That's the way to start the stream. So welcome in, everybody. This is going to be a fun, and I have been promised, lively stream. I think the word you might have used was spicy. So
it is like, I'm using food as an example here again. It's going to be like one of those spicy wings at KFC, right? It's going to be spicy
excellent.
chicken.
All right then. Well, before we get into the spiciness of it, let's go with the absolute confirmed news. And there's probably not a lot we can add to this one that we already know. But Arsenal have finally confirmed the David Raya deal today. Very much as we've spoken about on the channel for seemingly decades, actually. So it is official. He has signed. So he has signed. This is a new bit, right? He has signed an extension with his deal with Brentford, but I think that's to help them out in terms of the ease of the move. He has gone over to Arsenal on loan. He's taking the number 22 shirt, so that's a bit of new information. And I think it is all in, in terms of all the admin and stuff, making it, a loan with a view to a permanent move. So at least that one's sorted out and finalised.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we've talked about it as long as the Declan Rice deal, because that went on for about a decade.
A decade? Come back, Posh. I can't do this without you.
I quit. No.
I nearly took you off the screen then. I nearly did. Just to do the bit.
That was me doing a bit, don't worry. No, it felt like about 100 years, really. But we are, which is more than a decade. But it's great that that's another story. We've signed David Raya. That's very good because we've got two good goalkeepers. I have criticised Ramsdale for his pre-season form, yes, but overall, I think he is a good goalkeeper, and it's good to see that we've got strong competition in that position, being that we hopefully should be focusing on the cups a bit more this season. And we've got two goalkeepers that are good options, and I really rated David Raya when he was at Brentford. I thought he was a tremendous goalkeeper, and hopefully he can find that form again when he's in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, heck of a journey for him. Obviously had started off his first Premier League campaign against us, if you recall, a couple of years ago. In fact, that date is actually tattooed on his neck. Did you know that?
Oh, because it's the nice kickabout with the boys date.
That's the one. Yeah. That's the one.
Oh, good times, eh?
Oh, we've come a long way, mate. We've come a long way from them. But yeah, that one's all done and dusted, and will be available for the Crystal Palace game next Monday, which I hope you'll be able to join me with on the chat log, perhaps.
Yes, I should be able to.
Fantastic. So we'll look forward to that, and we'll make sure we'll get the kickoff time right as well, unlike I did on the Charity Shield game. But there you go. Look, I can have a dig at myself on my own channel as well, right? All right, shall we get to the spicy bit?
Oh, go on then.
All right.
I've got a picture, by the way. I've just put something in. I've put something right in our back end.
Misses.
Yeah. There it is.
Then. Well, let's go with the backstory and everything, and we'll do the debate from there. And what I did say to Posh, ladies and gentlemen, before we were sort of talking just before we went on air, and I said to him, we'll save it because I think we're going to have differing of views here. So let's get into it. So obviously, Julian Timber, he's been really impressive, hasn't he? Let's be honest. Since we've put eyes on him,
one of our best, if not our best player in our first two games, probably our best player. in terms of performance. Anyway, I'd certainly say.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with that. He was our man of the match when we did the chat along for the Charity Shield, Community Shield. Sorry, I'm really old. I forget things. Sorry. And he's been playing into left back position. He's very comfortable playing either side. And he started, and he impressed for the time he was on the field, I thought, against Forest on Saturday. Now, just before half time, he got involved in a bit of a tackle, a bit of a scuffle with one of the Forest players, and he did end up on the floor a little bit. He was getting medical treatment. As we know, he actually got booked for the tackle that he made, and then it was kind of the follow through that might have done a bit of damage. Now, he didn't last too much longer into the game. He did end up back on the pitch, and probably about 5 minutes later, there was another incident, and we actually saw him sort of crumple down to the ground. It wasn't so much of a tackle that time, was it? It was just a sort of odd kind of movement, if you like. Now, I think this is where the spiciness will come in, where we will discuss where he should have gone off and or when. So, would you like to give your opinion first, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, look, I understand that. Obviously, I'm going to contradict everything I'm going to say I've said previously, because I know that when we took Timber off against Man City, we conceded and we didn't look the same. And the same happened kind of against Forest. We took Timber off and we conceded. However, when he did not look, he didn't look not match fit, but he didn't look fit in the second half. And some genius in the medical team said, "Oh yeah, he looks injured. Let's get him back on." And now he's torn his ACL, and he's going to be an ACL injury is what? I'm no medical expert, but it's what, 7 or 8 months. It's a long time, and it's probably in both the men and women's team. That's our 825th ACL injury in the last year, I think, roughly. Yeah. So. And probably the 1 millionth ACL injury in all of sport. Yeah, we'll get to that fact in a minute. But and so I would say we're a left back down. I know Timber's not a left back, but Arteta's been playing him in that position, and you know what? He's actually been very good in that position. We have a perfectly great right back. I'd go as far to say one of the best left backs in the league in Kieran Tierney. But because we insist on playing, yes, I'm gonna swear here, inverted football. Excuse my language. We insist on playing inverted football. Tierney does not suit that system at all. But if you play him properly, he's a very good left back. So we're going to be 2 left backs down because Tierney's going to go. I understand.
Can we get back to Tierney in a minute?
Yeah, I understand that we might be looking for a left back in the transfer window, but this injury is a massive blow to our title challenge, our season as a whole, because he has to be one of our best players. And if you look at our defence, and I'm sorry to say this, we are one William Saliba injury away from capitulation. It's going to be back to starting Rob Holding again, if he stays with us, that is. And, you know, what if we don't get a left back in the transfer window? It's going to be either Zinchenko or Kivior at left back. And, you know, Saliba, I know he's playing for us again, but when ACLs they're spreading faster than COVID nowadays, and and Saliba being very careful on him with his injuries. What if he gets injured again? What if he has another long-term injury? And we're back to having Holding and Kivior, Gabriel Kivior. You know, this is what's worrying.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, get back to what I was saying there. Anyway.
Thank you. Right. So this is where we are going to have a bit of a debate, I think. So certainly from my point of view, Yeah, I saw what you see in the first half, and I saw he was getting treatment and everything. I am certain, all right, that the criticism that the medical staff and everything is a little bit short-sighted. They would have done all the checks at halftime, checking the movement, the strength, the structure of actually the knee and everything. If there was a dislocation, any sign of any ACL, any sort of injury. And there would have been feedback from the player as well. He would have said, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. That doesn't matter. Sometimes on injuries, yeah, you have to sort of be like, for example, we go to the Tottenham game when the player scored the goal but he got taken off straight away because of the concern of the head injury. It was kind of taken out of his hands. But yeah, there would have been considerable communication, I'm sure, during the half time. And if there was an injury issue, an injury concern, I don't believe that they would have put him on the field. I saw him walk past in the tunnel absolutely fine into the second half. I will say this. I think it's really unfortunate that very early on into that second half, there was, from what I this is how I see it, I view it as a separate incident, if you like, where and it could have happened to anyone, where you have an unusual sign of movement and kind of how you fall on a joint. And yeah, you're absolutely right about saying we've seen it. It's absolutely rife in the game, particularly in the ladies' game. I can think of 4 in the Arsenal camp alone over the last very short term, and it's a real shame. But for the criticism that's been levelled, and you've just said it yourself there, I think it's a little bit unfair. I also want to just say, until it actually comes from Arsenal themselves, I am being a little bit cautious on the seriousness of the injury. And I've seen the tweets and I've seen the reports from certain people who, say, sort of trusted sources or whatever, saying that, oh, it's definitely an ACL injury. I will counter that by saying I mentioned it's 4 ACLs for the Arsenal ladies side that I'm talking about, most notably Vivian Miedemar and Beth Mead. But
and that's why you should question what our medical team are doing. If we're getting so many ACLs like this, what's going on with how it's like I don't. It's not. It doesn't seem like a coincidence, doesn't it?
Whatever it is, like I said, what I was going to say before you jumped in was, with these other injuries that I've seen, when the injury goes, it's like they can't move. It's like that, the agony, the pain is there. Now, Timber, when he went off, he didn't go off on a stretcher. He was, definitely helped and assisted off. I just want to be a little bit cautionary before we start reporting it as an ACL injury until it's confirmed by the club. Do you understand what I mean? That's my point. And to a point, actually, with what you're saying about it all being coincidental, perhaps. There is studies actually in the ladies' game in particular. That's where a lot of these ACLs are occurring. Whether the being that the female gender is built somewhat different, the body's somewhat built different, that could be a reason why, without going into all the scientific bits of it, why these injuries in the ladies' game are so rife. And it's a really good point, and it's certainly a discussion that's being made in the game. It has been for quite some time.
At Real Madrid as well, Courtois, Militao, the defender, it's happening there. Also, in WWE, Raquel Rodriguez,
tag team champion,
I'm pretty sure she's done an ACL. She's got an ACL injury at the moment.
Yeah,
so it's happening everywhere, really.
The other thing you have to question is whether it is actually happening because of the intensity of the training. Is it something to do with that, or is it the amount of games they play in general? There's a real broad argument to be had on this argument, isn't there?
Yeah, and I just don't know what's going on. I mean, it's never been as much like ACL injuries as before, but it's weird, really. But it's mostly happening at Arsenal, whether it's with the women's team or the men's team with Timber. I don't know if Jesus has an ACL injury. I don't think that's the case. I don't think, but it's a knee injury. I know
it's a knee issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, although it can be similar, the ACL is amongst that joint. Yes, absolutely right. I'm no medical person, by the way, boys and girls, so I'm not really one to know.
Who do you think you are? Medical Bill. I've
used that reference on this channel before, my friend.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring it back. Why won't the rivalries row? So
sorry for anyone who doesn't understand that reference, by the way. I was trying to be the professional today, you know what I mean?
No, but I do think that whoever made the decision to say, oh, he's got a bit of a knee injury, yeah, he can go back out, I think that's the wrong decision. It was the wrong call, in my opinion. Whoever it was, whether it was a member of the medical team, whether it was Arteta, whether it was Timber himself who said, I don't care what you say, I want to go back out there, it's the wrong call from whoever it was.
Well, what I would say is I'll let more come out of the club. I'd like to hear from Timber himself as well, whenever that may be possible, and so we can come up with some answers on that one. What I will talk about is so you mentioned Kieran Tierney, so I wanted to put a pin in that. Explain to me why Kieran Tierney can't play in the inverted kind of role.
Because it's similar. I'm not comparing Tierney to Rob Holding, don't worry, but that's not his role. That's not his style. Look at when Saliba got injured and Arteta played Holding, right? Saliba and Gabriel are defenders that are suited to a high line that we like to play. Holding is not that defender, and that was our problem. He insisted on playing a higher line with Rob Holding. He doesn't suit that, and that was what led to a lot of problems regarding all the points that were dropped. It's similar where Tierney is not an inverted left back. He's a normal left back, if that makes sense. He's not a midfielder like Zinchenko or, dare I say, even Thomas Partey, who, yes, he knows how to play a midfielder because that's his main position. So he would suit an inverted right back in a way. Tierney is a left back. He hasn't played in midfield, so he doesn't suit the inverted role. He could train all his life to do it, and you never know. Maybe he could fit that role, but I don't know. That's not his main position, and if you want to play Tierney, you got to play him in a proper left back role, and that's when he's going to flourish. And even if he goes to Newcastle, which apparently is still back on the cards now, they're going to use him properly, and they've got themselves another great signing. They've got themselves a good team that you've got to watch out for this season.
I agree with what you said about Newcastle. I do agree with what you're saying about Kieran Tierney and myself, but I wanted to ask the question because a lot of people are asking that same sort of question. I have read and I have seen that despite the Timber injury, it still looks like Kieran Tierney is heading on his way out of the club. Real Sociedad, of course, have been linked. I said this about a week ago, I think, that yes, Posh is right. The Newcastle story has come about again over the last couple of days. My preference would be to see him go to Spain because I don't really want to see him play as for a Premier League rival.
No,
and Newcastle
they're only going to get stronger.
Newcastle are a serious Premier League rival. Good evening to Arsenal since 1987. We hope you are well. I forgot to say the other day, by the way, we hope you enjoyed your birthday night and you hope you managed to survive okay. So clearly you're in the chat, so that's a good thing. So
you didn't say anything like, if Nketiah gets top scorer, I'm going to shave my head off. So you didn't do that.
Who would say something like that, eh?
I know. You have to be some kind of alcoholic to say that. I don't know. But yeah, go on. Carry on.
Thank you very much. So with Timber being out certainly for the short term, because I'm not going to put a time scale on it because that's not my job. But for the short term, what are your thoughts coming into the Palace game? I know it's a little bit early because it's the Palace game is next Monday, but who would you be considering playing in that role currently in our squad? Or would you be in the next week or so looking to get options in from elsewhere?
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to get a new left back in time for the Palace game. I think that might be a bit of an ambitious thing, but
6 days away.
Yeah, we'll see. But if Arteta is so insistent on playing inverted football, then it depends whether Zinchenko's fit or not. If not, then we're probably looking at Kivior at left back. And we'll probably be back to the usual other three, which is White at right back, Saliba and Gabriel at centre back.
So it's either Gabriel. I'll get back to him in my next point.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. I think I sent you last night the links. As a well-known, apparently, João Cancelo.
Yeah.
Manchester City has been linked with Arsenal. I don't know the likelihood of that one happening. Premier League club to Premier League club,
well,
rival to rival.
Considering that he's now in heavy talks with Barcelona now, I think that might be. I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Thank you for that update. I did not hear that one today as my preparation for my notes. As you can, I actually am kind of half scripted today, which is quite interesting. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Listen, we are just giving our opinions, my friend. It's all fine. The other name that has been mentioned is Kyle Walker-Peters of Southampton.
I did not know that. He's a right back, though.
He is very adept at playing both sides. So some people will say that's a decent short-term option. What say you?
What say Arsenal since 1987? He says, I want to see Tierney at left back, White at the right back, and Partey in that double pivot with Rice for the Palace game. I'd like to see Tierney at left back. He's very good, but he's not, and I can't see Arteta changing the system. He loves a bit of inverted stuff. That's the thing. But if I was the manager, I would be putting Tierney at left back and making him play his proper role. So yeah, but I'm not the gaffer, so
no. And me being very old fashioned, like you guys know, I am. I struggle to understand this inverted business, but I try to see it
as well.
I try to see it from another point of view. I'm trying to educate myself on it, so I'm trying to get
more possession in the midfield. That's what it is.
And like, for example, for us against Forest, when we had it on the other side with Partey playing, sort of starting in that right back position, but he did end up spending more of the game up into that inverted midfield position.
But the thing is, Partey is not a right back. Yes, he occasionally played there when he was at Atletico Madrid. I get that. He played against us at right back in the Europa League once.
You did.
But against better opposition, you can't play Partey at right back, because against a team like Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, we are going to get found out big time. Gibbs White caused him a lot of problems. And that was, against Nottingham Forest. Against better opposition, you can't play Partey at right back.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely fair enough. And I don't think, I think you're absolutely right. Against better teams on the ball, shall we say, I don't think Arsenal can afford to go into that sort of, anything like that sort of shape or personnel like we did line up with. Just to finish up on the left-back situation, I want to throw an idea or two at you, and you might not be as prepped for this one as everything else.
I've never prepped these videos, to be honest, so that's nothing new.
Okay, well, I'll be the Jim Ross to your Jerry the King Lawler. No problem at all. But I want to throw a couple of names out. Hello, Jordan. It's good. Yes, I know you're back on YouTube. I had a little chat with him on the phone the other day. It's nice to have him back. So make sure you go and check him out on his channel as well. He's a Liverpool fan. He's a good guy. Make sure you check Jordan Hyman out. Couple of Arsenal Academy players I think it's worth talking about, because Raya Waters and Lino Sosa, I've seen both of these lads actually down my neck of the woods the other day, play in Chelmsford. Now, is it worth giving any of these lads a shot at left back? Is there any reason why these guys cannot be the next Ashley Cole? Manchester City gave Rico Lewis a go at it. Is there any reason why we can't do the same?
Raya Waters is a right back, and we need a left back. So, but I don't know. I don't know much about the other bloke.
Lino Sosa is a left-sided defender.
Oh, he's a left.
I brought Roll up as well because he's been in the first team picture just recently.
If we get a Carabao Cup tie against non-Premier League opposition, like if we get, I don't know, home to Walsall or something, then yeah, I can get some academy players in there.
Yeah.
With all due respect to any the
Walsall fans in the chat.
Yeah. I was going to say the Hatters, but that's Luton, I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
The Saddlers. There we go. With all due respect to any Saddlers out there, a team like that, League One, League Two opposition, we get in the Carabao Cup. That's when you can get some academy players in there.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. It's just again, it's word of what's on social media at the moment. It's certainly something I thought was worth speaking about. Because I remember Ashley Cole jumping in the first team when Glau Clichy got injured, and it was like very much an unknown sort of factor there. And I just thought, well, maybe the similarity circumstances mean people get opportunities.
Walcott, he was an academy player for Southampton actually, but he signed for
Yeah, no, you're right though. That's how the likes of Walcott, likes of Rooney, likes of all these other people.
Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, they come about with opportunity, don't they? So we'll see. We'll see where they stand in the first team picture, certainly to come. Right. This was very much a point that was very much we really struggled to understand when we did our post-match discussion on Saturday. The Gabriel missing for tactical reasons in the back line. Let's not forget he played 5 minutes or so right at the end when things were getting a bit squeaky bum time. It was described to us by Arteta himself that he was not playing for tactical reasons. Well, of course, the hot topic of the moment is all the Saudi money and all the clubs spending all that heaps of money on world-class players going abroad and playing in the Saudi leagues. So, of course, Gabriel's name got linked with that party. Is there any substance to this one, Posh, you're feeling? Or
this has come out
a load of nonsense?
I don't know. This might be famous last words. I can't see him going to a Saudi club. But if Arsenal sell him, that is an awful decision because I think he can offer a lot more playing for Arsenal. He's actually a very good defender alongside Saliba. So I would not get rid of him in the slightest.
No, I do
Even
agree.
if it was for billions and billions of dollary dues like Saudi Arabia can offer. But no.
My feeling when I saw this was that Gabriel, I think, has probably been our most consistent centre half for a couple of years. I thought he was a sure name to be amongst the starting 11 on Saturday. As we spoke about, we're doing FPL. I thought I'd put him in because he was a guaranteed start. Of course, he blinking weren't. First time I think he'd been dropped in 2 years.
Lee, I left Isak on the bench.
Yeah.
Don't worry about mistakes you've made. And I had Emi Martinez in goal. So
I had Emi too.
Don't. I've made more mistakes than you have in FPL. So
it's all good. But talking of Aston Villa, nice little move over. We saw your comment, Arsenal 8 from 1987. We just mentioned that Saudi can have him for £100 million. Really?
Providing that we get an absolute world-class defender that we get for that money.
Well, I mean, Harry Maguire is apparently available.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Holding. I mean, that's a dream partnership, that is. Eric Dyer. He can do a Sol Campbell, not Harry Kane.
Just breaking news, the Harry Maguire to West Ham deal has fallen through, apparently.
Oh, really?
Not
West Ham
involving us, but I'll bring it up nonetheless. But talking of Rob Holding, and this is kind of connected to the Aston Villa thing you just mentioned. So Tyrone Mings had a real terrible injury. I don't know if you saw this one, mate.
Is it another ACL?
Potentially. I don't know if they've revealed it as such, but
that's actually the second time that's happened. I remember when he was at Bournemouth, he got an ACL injury and was out for months. I think that was one of their first seasons in the Premier League. I remember. So if he's done that again, then that's so unfortunate.
Unfortunate on a really talented, really good footballer, not just a defender, good on the ball as well. So with that injury, they had another centre-half go injured. I can't remember his name. I hadn't had a chance to look it up. But I had seen, talking of Arsenal departures, I did read of Rob Holding being linked to Aston Villa. Therefore, they could have that dream partnership of Callum Chambers and Rob Holding all over again.
Unai Emery can have him. I don't care how much money you offer him. Get rid of him, please.
So there you go. It's live negotiation there on Gooner Gather this evening.
That's how I do it. I negotiate. I don't care. £2.50. Take him.
Rob Holding to Villa. Here we go.
Here we go. £2.50 plus 3p add-ons.
And a bag of Doritos.
And a packet of Frazzles. 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps.
There we go. It's a perfect deal. Well negotiated. I'm glad we brought this one up. You know what?
That is how you do it. That's how you do it.
He brought this thing up again.
2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps for Rob Holding. There we go. I'll take your money.
And there you have provided me for the short of the day. Thank you very much for that. So carrying on the departures front, reportedly a journalist from Turkey, I believe his name is Gökmen Oksan, I believe. My pronunciation obviously is spot on. Nicola Pepe, remember him? Yes. £72 million man. Apparently has agreed personal terms with, I'm going to be careful how I say this one, Besiktas. I think that's right.
Yes.
That's right. I don't want to mispronounce things and get demonetized, despite the fact we're not even monetized yet. But it's still to be determined whether if Arsenal are going to get a fee from him or whether it's going to be another termination or not. What's your thoughts on this one? Have you heard any more on that one?
It's a shame because we bought him for 70 odd million. He was our most expensive player, and now he's going to go in the form of a contract termination. You'd think we'd get some money for him, but it's clear that he is not in Arteta's plans at all.
No.
He started off well. I don't think he didn't offer much in his last few games. I don't know, but
consistency let him down, I think.
Yeah, I think I can see him moving on. I can't see him playing for us this season.
Yeah, I do think you're right. He's nowhere near the first team picture. He never made an team to Chelmsford City either. So it just shows you how he's seen at the moment. I'd be very surprised to see before we get to our next game. I'd be surprised if there aren't any more departures. Yeah, I said the £72 million man, Arsenal since 1987. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. He had a successful spell in Nice, I want to say, in France. I think I'm right in saying that. I hadn't even written that down, boys and girls. Wow, I'm getting good at this. But it'll be a sad end to an Arsenal career that certainly started promisingly, but somewhat fizzled out through turning into very much the forgotten man. Really, the man on the sidelines watching on at the moment. But really, in terms of all Arsenal news and everything like that, mate, I think I've gone through everything that I had written down. Is there anything else you want to cover on tonight's stream that I haven't brought up?
Yes, I know it's not got much to do with Arsenal, but we said that we could touch on the penalty incident yesterday.
Of course.
Oh, I've got some things to say on that.
It's all yours, my friend. Go ahead, describe the action.
What's it going to take for people to realise that VAR is not fit for purpose? I am sorry, but it needs to be got rid of. There have been constant mistakes, whether it's Lee Mason against Brentford, whether it was the incident between Brighton and Tottenham a few months ago last season, and now it's this with Onana, almost like he's in the UFC or something, just knocking out two Wolves
Spanish
players.
fly, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He's being a wrestler, and for whatever reason, I was not given a penalty. VAR is a joke. And I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of it. If it was up to me, I'd just bin the whole thing. But yes, I know people say I know it's the people doing it, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a young man with an old brain, but I don't like it. I don't like VAR. Bring back the olden days. Keep goal line technology though. That's quite useful. But get rid of VAR. That's my opinion.
As much as I'm not a fan of VAR, it's not necessarily the technology itself, because you can run back videotape as much as you like. If you've got people that are not capable of making a correct decision on it, I mean, I feel for Neil Moss actually, who's the guy apparently in charge of it these days, and I've done the manager for Wolves had come out. You're going to have to remind me his name because it's
Gary O'Neill,
the former Southampton manager, right? Is that right? Manager. No, Bournemouth. That's right, isn't it? He said even before the post match conference press conference yesterday that Neil Moss had already been in touch with him saying, "I'm ever so sorry. It's just that's completely wrong. It's the wrong decision." I'll say this as well, by the way. The referee on field yesterday was in a really good position, and there's no reason why you cannot give that penalty.
Yeah,
I mean it was. That's an excellent point. I'll come into in just a second because I want to give Wolves credit, but you cannot. I mean, I understand rules change a little bit, and apparently there's a little bit more of a leeway to the physical contact and everything like that. You cannot take. It wasn't just one; it was two players that they took out. The keeper took out. Surely someone amongst that refereeing team should have spotted that and given the right call. Wolves are really hard done by, and they were excellent yesterday, considering the preparation that Gary O'Neill had in terms of being appointed about 4 days before that game. I thought he got his game plan absolutely spot on. I don't think he would have changed too much from what they were doing previously. They got everything right. They played ever so well, and they had so many shots on goal. United looked ordinary, and I thought they were very, very hard done by. Important to point out the whole refereeing team, I think, including the VAR people, have been taken off Premier League duty this weekend as a result of their actions last night.
Once again, this is what's it going to take for them to realise we need to get brand new people in there, and if they don't do it, then it's VAR. I'm sorry, it's not going to be fit for purpose. But on the game you mentioned, I didn't watch the game. I've got better things to do than to watch Man United, unless it's against Arsenal. Hopefully, we'll be doing a chat along for that. But which is coming up actually in September. But I saw the penalty situation, and it's just a disgrace, really. Wolves should have had a penalty there, and that's all I can say on that matter.
So Wolves were brilliant, as Arsenal since 1987 says. Wolves had 22 shots or something on goal. It would be argued that Martinez, the centre half, was a lucky boy to survive the first half on his yellow card. His tackling was gross, like it normally is. Got replaced at half time for Lindelof if I recall. And absolutely 100% was a penalty in this person's opinion as well. So I think here we are. Game week 1 of the Premier League is complete. Controversy abounds, injuries everywhere, VAR decisions.
Like we never left.
We're back, boys and girls. We are back. So I think that just about wraps us up for today's stream. Posh, you were right. It was spicy, but it was an enjoyable discussion, and I thank you for your time as always.
No.
Would you?
I mean, it didn't get too spicy because your brother wasn't there. So I'm sure.
Big shout out to Nick.
He's a good bloke.
He is a good bloke. It's my neck. But when the time zone is correct and when he's got a free weekend, I'm sure we'll have a debate or two.
I'll stay up at 3 a.m. for that. Don't worry. It'll be worth it.
You're being filmed now, mate. So you know that's on record. But
that's all right. I'm a nocturnal person. I'll be honest with you. My sleeping pattern's a bit weird sometimes. Anyway, you can follow me on X, Twitter @PoshBertie, and Instagram @BertieOneless.
You can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find all of us here at Gooner Gathering. Sorry about the dodgy start to the stream today, but there you go. That's technology.
I left a comment in that video saying quality. Best video yet.
And there's a final comment there. Man City played UEFA, the Super
they
Cup.
do against Sevilla.
Absolutely. We aren't going to be covering that, I don't think.
No.
Well, I will say, there is something we might be covering, whether it be tomorrow or the day after. Before I sign out, I should point out it's England versus Australia in the Women's World Cup semi-final tomorrow morning. So best wishes to the Lionesses. There'll be Arsenal girls involved in both sides. Lotta Rubens-Moy, Caitlin Ford, and who's the other one? It's the left back. I can't remember. No. Well, yeah, Russo as well. But Steph Catley, the name come to me, the Australian left back. So it would be Arsenal against Arsenal. Should be very, very interesting. I'll say, come on, the Lionesses.
Let's hope we get revenge for the Ashes.
Absolutely. And on that, boys and girls, we are out of here. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.